Good morning. It's another Raw Blog episode. It is November 7th, 0937. I think is it daylight savings time? Fall back. Such a good pattern we have in physical reality. Creating these arbitrary systems of measurement that allow us to coordinate our time amongst ourselves. It's so good. Today's going to be a short one, a short journal entry. I do want to talk about some meditation I had this past week because I did a recording this morning of the profound experiences. Let's just go ahead and talk about it now. These profound experiences I'm having in meditation, coming out of dream state, and soothing, thinning the veil between wake state and non-physical, being a non-physical. Now, of course, everybody is constantly experiencing non-physical experience while they are experiencing their waking reality. But there is typically an opaque veil between the two realms, which alongside the ego kind of forces you into being able to perceive only the physical reality experience, and that's on purpose. But it is not an edict, it is not a command. In other words, you are the creator, you are the decider, and with a little bit of focus, you can thin that veil, and as you do so, my experience is confirming, and so are the experiences of my advanced clients, you can thin that veil to the degree where you can begin to experience the wake state experience and non-physical simultaneously. It takes a little while to soothe the momentum that's creating the thickness of the veil. And I am not quite able to perceive non-physical experience while, for example, I'm speaking into my recorder right now. But I'm getting closer and closer in my meditations. So every morning when I wake up, I meditate for an hour to both saturate myself in the dreams I experienced before recording my dreams, and also to amplify the stillness that is me. And in that meditation these days, not only am I able to vividly recall the dreams I had over the night, but I'm also able to perceive the dreams I'm experiencing while I'm in meditation. Now, dreams is a misnomer. That's a word from our civilization. What dreams are actually sojourns into non-physical. And so, like I said a few minutes ago, we're always simultaneously in this physical reality and in multiple other dimensions, including non-physical. And so when I'm meditating, because my veil is thinner now, I can easily, spontaneously move into that non-physical space that feels like dreams, which is what happened this morning, and which is also what happened earlier this week. And I'm going to append that, I think it's a 2-minute video that I made right after coming out of meditation as evidence of the experience. That video, I think, also talked about very strong evidence of my shape-shifting practice coming to the fore. I'm wondering if I have talked about this in my previous blog. I don't remember appending a video to it, so we'll see. I'm either going to append it or not. If I don't, I'll put a note in to make sure that you know that I knew that I already did it, or that it was irrelevant. Anyhow, that's the meditation experience this week, and the dream experience, and the thinning of the veil experience. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was how I am easing more into effortlessness. I've promised you all, the few of you that are watching these videos, that I will be doing a Worthiness Wednesday episode on effortlessness. Can life really be effortless? Yes, it can. And I'm going to be doing a video to describe that in more detail, but I just want to talk about my own experience into greater levels of effortlessness, evidenced by my greater comfort and actual excitement over clients moving themselves around my schedule. It's really interesting. Clients will sometimes tell me, just like this week, I had a client who regularly meets me on 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday, who wanted to move her appointment up earlier in the day so she could go to a medical appointment. Typically, when that has happened in the past, I'd feel a little bit of irritation about the person disrupting my pretty rigid schedule. But these days, what I'm finding is great satisfaction when someone does that, because I know that everything is always working out. When a person acts in their selfish self-interest, which is a good thing, everyone else involved in that person's experience is benefiting also. And so when this client wanted to move her session from 1600 to 1200, I saw that as a good thing. And sure enough, when Wednesday came around, I had the entire afternoon to myself. It was so glorious. And my experience of clients moving their appointments around now, I am interpreting as, when they do that, that is my broader perspective, working with their broader perspective to deliver to them the fulfillment of their self-interest. And in doing so, create for me something that will fulfill me in my self-interest. That's a really important perspective to have in life experience. I say that because I know what it's like to not have that perspective in life experience and to get irritated when people cancel at the last minute a plan that you've made with someone, or they no-show, they stand you up, or something like that happens. In every case where that's happening, you guys, it's happening for our benefit. It's happening for the benefit of the person who's canceling or ghosting too, but it's happening for our benefit too. And if we can perceive it that way, that it's happening in our benefit, we begin to see how, in fact, it's happening for our benefit. Just like what I'm discovering with my clients moving their sessions around. Really good. The other thing that's happening this week, and I may have talked about this in my journal last week, my last week's journal, is a strong level of contrast I'm moving through over the last 14 days or so, as I'm preparing to receive from the city this wonderful certification of me being able to move into this new apartment, and other things that are happening in my life experience that are expansive in nature. Some of that contrast showing up this week was early this week, like last week, Saturday and Sunday. Now you have to listen to the importance of the vibration of the following words I'm going to use, and the reason why, to give an explanation for the reason why I just paused. I was going to say I was having doubts, but doubt is a very vibrationally strong word. So it wasn't doubt I was experiencing, and it wasn't concern. That's a little less intense in terms of vibration than doubt, but it's still not right. I was feeling conflict. Conflict's too strong a word. I was feeling aware, there we go. I was feeling aware that there was something amiss in my vibration relative to my client work, and whether or not I was providing value. Like, why were these people, my clients, showing up and listening to me blather on about this stuff? Were they getting value? That's what I was feeling, alongside the other contrast I was experiencing in the past 14 days as I move into a greater level of expansion and acceptance of that expansion. And then this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I had such wonderful sessions with my clients, and to a client, every single client expressed to me in their own unique way that indeed they're getting a lot of value from interacting with me. So interesting how that manifested, isn't it? On Saturday and Sunday, I had a question. I made the ask to my broader perspective. Show me that what I'm doing has value for others. It's interesting because part of the certification process for moving into this apartment requires you providing proof of income. And because my client practice is so informal, the certifiers are having a little difficulty believing in my income. And so I may have said this in my last journal entry. I talked about this authority wanting to justify my income and feeling resistant to that. And I wrote to them, in fact, that my clients get a lot of value. That was last week. And so Saturday and Sunday, it makes sense that I had that question in the context of the contrast of authority, a group of people being able to determine whether or not I can live in a place I want to live. That question of authority also causing me to question my value. Very interesting. I just realized that. And then, so I had that asked. My broader perspective heard it, coordinated with the broader perspectives of my clients, and gave me the evidence that I asked for. Show me evidence that I provide value. And then my broader perspective coordinated with my clients' broader perspectives, and each one to a client in their own unique way expressed how much value they get from interacting with me in client sessions. So good. Okay, I'm going to keep this one short. Wow, just a little over 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to append, I think I've got that. I know I have the video, but I don't know whether or not I included it in last week's. So here's the deal. If I included it in last week, I'm not going to include it in this week. This video is going to end and there'll be nothing after it. If I didn't include it last week, then I will include it here to illustrate, to back up what I said in the first 5 minutes of this journal about the meditation experiences I'm having, the shape-shifting evidence I'm producing for myself, and the thinning of the veil that stands between our waking experience and our experiences simultaneously ongoing and non-physical. Okay? All right. Really good journal entry this morning. Hope you guys are having a happy Friday. See you in the comments and in the next video. Okay. I haven't done one of these recordings in a while. It's not because things haven't been happening, they have. But today, actually this week, with the highlight of today, has brought significant expansion in my experience. What I'm experiencing, what happened in my meditation this morning highlighted the value of, I think it's called the cerebrum. I don't think it's the cerebellum, but it might be the cerebellum. I will include a graphic that shows the part of the brain I'm talking about. It's the back part of the brain where the brain stem meets the spinal cord or the spine. That was the region that was extremely activated this morning, which felt like a pulling of my conscious awareness into that region of the body, while at the same time I was existing simultaneously in multiple locations inside my psyche. The first was the dreams that I experienced last night, which had to do with calibrating around a region represented by symbology that looked like the Northwest, a map of the Northwest, a topographic map of the Northwest. So like a 3D map. And then me working with others to understand that map. So that was, and then there were other dreams having to do with playing basketball and interacting with old friends. And then another level of dream experience where in the period of my meditation, in the hour that I was meditating, I was in a new set of dreams where I was calibrating to the experience that I'm going to describe next, which is a third dimension of my meditation in which there was extreme stillness and an awareness of my being stretching through the 3 dimensions I just mentioned, as well as a 4th dimension, which occurred to me as a physical gym, like a gymnasium. These meditation experiences, they're very somatic in nature, in the sense that they are affecting my physical framework, my physical body, while I'm experiencing them. So I don't want to keep going in this recording because I don't want it to be too long. I just want to note that a significant shift has happened, the ability to perceive myself in multiple dimensions while I'm meditating. The dream dimension I had while sleeping, an analysis of the dream dimension, a 3rd dimension having to do with dreams I'm having while meditating, which are alternate dimension departures, and then a 4th dimension where I'm in my physicalness, centered around the cerebrum, I think it's called, and as a result of that experience, having a sense of overarching understanding of all the other dimensions. And also an indication that I'm calibrating more and more to the physical shift that I'm wanting to see with regard to shape-shifting. Lots of progress happening. All right. See ya.